Hi, Ian Newton here. Welcome to this segment. This is where you're going to learn how to do EFT, Emotional Freedom Technique. Now, Emotional Freedom Technique has been around for a long time. I first was introduced to it in 1996 and have used it with literally thousands of clients. In fact, when I finish this video, I've got a client coming who wants to quit smoking, but is so convinced they can never quit smoking that I'm going to dedicate this first part of the session to using EFT to overcome that belief before I go on and do my standard process. It could be described as emotional acupuncture. Now, some people, when they first see EFT, they think, oh, that's a bit silly, that's a bit weird. But we accept the fact that acupuncture works, and acupuncture works by perhaps putting a needle in here and it activates that point. All we're going to be doing is activating that point manually. Now, here's the great thing, the best news about EFT. You don't need to go and find a clinic to do EFT. You can do it at home. If you're distressed and you've got insomnia, you can do it at 2 o'clock in the morning. And with this program, you're going to see you're going to be doing a lot of EFT. And you'll come to really enjoy it, because what you'll enjoy is the feeling. So there are 3 stages to EFT. The first is the setup phrase. And we're going to use an example. So what I'll get you to do is I will get you to take a big deep breath in and out. It's simpler for us to simply do this rather than talk about it endlessly. Now, in a moment, I'll ask you to put a scale of 1 to 10 on this. Remember, we talked about the scales on the muscle testing video. 0 would be can't breathe at all. 10 would be the biggest, freest, easiest breath you could imagine. So again, you take in a big deep breath right now. And breathe out and give it a rating of 0 to 10. Now, you don't have to get all fussy with these ratings. You don't have to say, that seems to be like a 6.25. It's a 6. Because all you want to do is to be able to measure some progress. So some of you out there may have got a 4 or a 6 or an 8, and some of you may have got a 10. It doesn't matter. Play with this anyway. So what we're going to do is the first phase, which is called the setup phrase. The setup phrase is basically what you're thinking. And in this instance, what we would be doing, tapping on the side of the hand. Now, you can do either hand. As I say, tap on the side of the hand, most people just pick one hand up. I always pick my right hand up and tap with the left. Doesn't matter. Tapping on the side of the hand, a couple of fingers, 3 fingers, doesn't matter. It's on that flat point there, called the karate chop point. And you would say, and repeat this out loud, or if you're embarrassed if someone's in the room, say it to yourself. Even though I have restricted breathing, I only got a such and such out of 10, or 4 or a 6 or an 8 or 10. Even if you got a 10 out of 10, still say 10 out of 10 for the purpose of the game. Even though I only got a 6 out of 10, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Even though I only got a 6 out of 10, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Now, we're going to go right through this process, and I'll come back and explain it. Okay. Top of the head. Tapping there. This is a major point, intersection point with acupuncture. Now, all we want to do is take the setup phrase and squash it down. Restricted breathing. Beginning of the eyebrow. Restricted breathing. Could be either side. Side of the eye. Restricted breathing. Under the eye, on the bony part. Restricted breathing. Here, restricted breathing. In the hollow, restricted breathing. Use your hand across the collarbone, 2 bony collarbone points, restricted breathing. This one little trigger to see. Under the arm, right on the side, bra strap for ladies, in the middle, open hand again. Doesn't matter if you're not right on the ball, you'll pick it up. Restricted breathing. Okay, maybe you're starting to feel silly now. We'll work on that soon. On the thumb, right on that edge there. Restricted breathing. On the finger, restricted breathing. Now, this may not apply to this particular problem, but we're going to do it anyway. Repeat after me. I forgive myself for having this restricted breathing. And I forgive anyone else who has contributed to this in any way. And I choose to breathe freely, easily, and deeply. Okay. On the back of the hands here, restricted breathing. And a point I like to use, and just in those hollows on the back of the neck, restricted breathing. As you'll see later, I use this for specific things. Top of the head again, restricted breathing, only a 4 or 6 out of 10. Can't breathe as deeply as I like. So we can say things around the initial issue. Can't take a big deep breath. Want to be able to breathe more easily. Just feel restricted in my breathing. Can't breathe deeply. Can't breathe deeply. Restricted breathing. Restricted breathing. Restricted breathing. And restricted breathing. Now, take a big deep breath again. Give it a rating. 0 to 10. Was there a shift? Okay, if you were a 10, you wouldn't expect there to be a shift. However, I always introduce this to groups like this. And it surprises me how often somebody says, I'm a 10, but now I'm a 12. How can that be? Well, it's because you thought you were taking a deep breath. Now, you may have been a 5 and now you're a 6 or a 7 or a 4 and you've jumped to an 8. Who knows? Or maybe nothing. It doesn't matter. It always happens. Some people, they just don't quite pick it up first time around. I don't sweat that. Now, what does that mean? The fact that you said strange things and tapped your head and body and you were able to breathe more freely. Well, what it is in the instance of restricted breathing, the reason our breathing is often restricted is because of some stress or anxiety or some physical problem going on in our body. And by addressing that issue and tapping these acupuncture points, we were able to release some of that stress, which meant that now those muscles in your chest and back and sides and rib cage are just a little bit freer and you're able to breathe a little more deeply, a little more easily. Now, this is a good thing to tap for every day. I see the breathing example as just a band-aid, really. Because if you really were under stress, what you want to be doing is tapping for the stress issue itself. But we'll get to that. So we have the first part. We have the setup phrase. And that's where we state the problem, even though I have restricted breathing. Now let's shift it to something else. A lot of people, when they first encounter EFT, think, I don't know about that. That looks a bit embarrassing. That's a bit silly. That's a bit stupid. So what we would say would be something like, and tap with me on this, even though EFT just looks pretty silly to me and I can't possibly see how it could work, and I don't know if I even want to do it, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Okay, what have we just said? We've said the first part about EFT being silly and don't want to do it, and that's your thought that comes up. We always tap for the thought. Then we break it and say, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Now, the reason we say this is because we have problem over here, and then we separate it out. That even though I've got this problem, I'm okay. Now, what some people find, and you may find this yourself, is when you go to say the bit, I deeply and completely love and accept myself, you mightn't be able to say it. Sometimes that is a core issue for people. And if it's a core issue, what I generally say is, well, do the first couple of rounds of something like this. Even though I think EFT is silly and it can't possibly work, I don't know even if I want to do it, I choose to give it a go and see what happens. Something as simple as that. The choosing is important. Choices is a very big part of EFT. You can come back to the deeply and completely love and accept yourself part would be something like, even though I don't love and accept myself, I choose to allow myself to love and accept myself. Now, it sounds slightly odd, but it's getting at that particular issue. So you've made the statement, even though, and tap with me, even though I think this EFT is a bit silly and I can't see how it works and I don't really think I want to do it anyway. And dogs are barking in the background. I don't know if you can hear that. But I live in a suburban area and stuff happens. So, and dogs barking in the background will cause you to learn this process even faster. Good. Even though I don't know if EFT can work, and I don't know if I want to do it, and how could it possibly help my stress problems. I deeply and completely love and accept myself. One more time, we say it 3 times, even though EFT is silly and ridiculous, I don't want to do it, and I just can't see how it could possibly help. I deeply and completely love and accept myself. I choose to just do it for a while and see how I feel. Because I've just understood that literally millions of people worldwide have used this great technique to great effect, even in terrible areas like Rwanda and in the Mexico earthquakes. That's right. Then we scrunch it down, because now we're just going to do what's called the reminder phrase. Top of the head. EFT can't work. I don't want to do it. It looks pretty silly. Can't possibly see how it could work. Just too silly for me. I'm too important to do EFT. I'm not going to do something as silly as EFT. Even if it works for millions of people, I'm not going to do it. I think it looks a bit silly. All this tapping, all these strange words. What a strange thing to do. EFT can't work for me. EFT can't work. It just looks too silly. It just looks too strange. It just looks too silly. It just looks too strange. I don't want to do EFT. I can't see how it works. All this tapping. All this tapping. I forgive myself for not wanting to do EFT to change my life. I forgive anyone who at any time has contributed to my feelings of feeling embarrassed about trying new things. That's right. We're just tapping. Tapping for EFT. Any of your resistance, anything thought that you're feeling right now about EFT, any negative thought, just tap for that negative thought. Under the nose, on the chin, on the collarbone, under the arm, on the thumb, on the index finger, that's the forgiveness finger, on here, karate chop, on here, and back of the head. That's right, take a big deep breath in and out. Now, what we do then is, if you would say had a rating 0 to 10 stress rating and said, well, this is an 8 out of 10, I don't want to do EFT. I don't usually find much resistance, to be honest. Sometimes people are embarrassed, but as soon as they just feel a little bit of shift, a little bit of relaxation, and the most common response you get when people first start doing EFT is, yeah, I just feel a bit more relaxed about that, a bit calmer. Just last week I worked with a chap who had a quite serious neck injury, a sporting injury, and he was pretty upset with the person who done it to him, and he was looking down the barrel of surgery. And so we did quite a bit of EFT and some hypnosis. And the first thing he said was, yeah, I just feel a bit more relaxed about that now. I feel a bit calmer. And the next day he thanked me for the session and said, yeah, I just feel a whole lot calmer about what I've got to do now and where I've got to go. And that's one of the great benefits of EFT. If you've got an issue, you can collapse all the onion ring layers of stress around that issue and make it much easier and much more simple for yourself. So it's all good. There's just one thing. EFT works. Go online, search it. You'll find that EFT works. It is a wonderful tool. And now it is yours for life. Yours forever. That's right. You can take it with you wherever you go. So, as a reminder, we do the setup phrase, then tapping the points, saying the reminder phrase. We take a deep breath and just seeing how we feel. Now, often people say to me, what do I tap for next? I don't know what to tap for. And I say, what are you thinking or feeling? Oh, well, I kind of feel a bit sad. Okay. Let's do that, even though I feel sad. Yeah. I've seen this work so well for people in really, really dire straits. I never forget one Friday afternoon, a lady came into our clinic. A few years ago, my wife and I had a a combined medical naturopathic wellness clinic. And she was my wife's patient, but it was quarter to 5 on a Friday. She walked in and said, I don't even know why I'm here. I don't know what to do. My granddaughter drowned today. And, you know, my receptionist, her face just dropped. And I just said, you know, come through and let's have a bit of a chat. So we did about 45 minutes of EFT. Now this lady, she was really the glue in her family. She was the one who was, you know, really holding things together. And she was able to elevate herself out of that real pit of despair at that time so that she could just start to think clearly and to make the decisions and start to offer the support to her family because they all relied on her. This was dramatic, and I've seen hundreds of such dramatic, you know, uses of EFT with accidents and stresses, but it works particularly well. It can work for sports. It can improve your golf game. If you simply believe that you're always going to slice the ball when you tee off, well then you'll always slice the ball. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Now we understand self-fulfilling prophecies in the negative sense, so why not create self-fulfilling prophecies in the positive sense of thinking and working towards a positive goal and outcome for ourselves, which is exactly what this program is all about. Respecting ourselves on every level so that we can do this. Okay, now I want to do some tapping here. Now I'm going to assume at this point that you can take this on board. By the time we've finished these rounds of tapping, you will get a sense of just how to use it. And once you use it, I will be doing one more video on some advanced levels of EFT, and then the rest of them will be audios because they're really easy to download for most people if they have any difficulties. And so you'll know where the points are because you will easily remember where the points are. And if you can't, you could do some tapping, even though I can't easily remember where the points are. Hey, it's just a belief. It's just a thought. So we can tap for that. So I'll put my glasses back on because I'm going to read off the other screen. And of course, I could do some EFT for improved vision. It's something that people have done successfully. And I'll admit, it's just something I've never quite got around to doing. And maybe I will in the future. So in the early part of the book during the story, we're looking at goals. And the fact is we know that goals work. It's simple. But we know that most people don't do them. Just like we know that diets work, that most people don't follow them through. This is what we're going to do. Tap with me. Even though goal setting doesn't work for me, and just repeat after out loud, preferably, or to yourself. And it's really just a waste of time. I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Even though goal setting doesn't work for me and it's just a waste of time, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Even though goal setting doesn't work for me, and I think it's just a waste of time, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Goal setting doesn't work for me, it's just a waste of time. Just a waste of time. It can't work for me. Goal setting doesn't work for me. Just a waste of time. Now, I'll take a step back, and if you were to have muzzle tested and say, you know, goal setting works for me 100% of the time, I'll always do it, well, there's nothing to do here. But if you said goal setting works for me, oh, I want to do goal setting, oh, I've gone weak. This is why. So we use the muscle test to determine what we're doing. Okay. Goal setting doesn't work for me. Goal setting doesn't work for me. Under the arm, goal setting doesn't work for me. Goal setting is a waste of time. Goal setting doesn't work for me. Besides, I tried it in the past. And I gave it a really good go. I might have written my goals down a couple of times somewhere on a piece of paper, which I lost. And goal setting doesn't work for me, even though I've heard that all the successful people say you should goal set. But goal setting doesn't work for me. It's just a waste of time. Goal setting is a waste of time for me. Sorry, I've got to read my other screen. Even though it's fine to dream about these things, it doesn't really work for me. So why write it down? You know, because my dreams and goals will never work out anyway. My dreams and goals never work out anyway. I forgive myself for believing that my dreams and goals don't work out anyway. I forgive myself for believing that goal setting doesn't work and that it only works for other people. That's right. That's
A vast virus database has been updated.
Well, isn't that good news that advanced database has been updated in the middle of the video? You know what? When things like, if that was to be a stress for me, I'd go, even though the sound came on in the video in the middle of my recording, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. But you know what? Don't sweat the small stuff. Stuff happens, and it's not an ad for a buzz. It just happens to pop up just when you're not expecting it. And I'm not going back to the start of this, because you know what? Life's not perfect. Tap for this. Even though my goals don't have to be perfect, even though I don't have to fully understand how to do it right from the outset, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Even though things come along that seem to upset my goals, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. But what I choose to do, I choose to map out the goals that I can work with right now, knowing that as I go through this process, I can adjust those goals and I can change them as much as I want. But in my heart, I know they will work. That's right. Goals have to be fixed. Can't change my goals. Goals have to be fixed. Things happen. What if my goals don't work? Don't know about goal setting. Bit skeptical about goal setting. Even though the university studies say they work, why would they work for me? I'm not a big business person. Why would they work for me? I'm just a regular person. Goals don't work. Maybe they do. Maybe goals work. Maybe I'll give them a shot. See, we're introducing a slight positive element here. Maybe I'll give them a shot. They've worked for other people. Maybe I'll give them a shot. Take a deep breath. Notice how you think or feel. Okay. So we realize everything's not perfect all the time. And we're not aiming for perfection. We are aiming to advance along our path. That's right. It's a really like the Japanese concept of kanai, constant never-ending improvement. And so we start here and we want to keep improving along the way. You will change your goals, you will work with your goals, and you will struggle with them at times, and you will overcome them and so forth. Using this respect program is the best possible way to get you through all of this. Now, I want to look at a couple of big issues around goals. Around goals. See, once again, progress, not perfection. Okay. You know, I was talking to someone recently and they wanted to shoot YouTube videos, and they were kind of giving up on it because they'd just done it X number of times and didn't work. And I thought, so what? Eventually you'll get it right. It's not rocket science. But if you start digging yourself into a I can't hole, it's a big problem. Now, we address the I can't syndrome within this program. Let's do this. Even though I don't deserve for my goals to work, even though I'm not worthy or good enough for my goals to work, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Even though I don't deserve or worthy or I'm good enough for my goals to work, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Even though I'm not deserving, worthy, or good enough for my goals to work, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Don't deserve my goals to work. Not worthy of them working. Not good enough for them to work. Don't deserve them. Don't deserve my goals. Not worthy of my goals. Not good enough for my goals. Not deserving of my goals. Not worthy of my goals. Not good enough for my goals. Not deserving of my goals. Not worthy of my goals. Not good enough for my goals. I forgive myself for not feeling I'm deserving, worthy, or good enough for my goals. Take a deep breath. And I forgive anyone else who has ever contributed to this. And I choose now to be worthy, deserving, and good enough. Not deserving of my goals. Not worthy, not good enough. Not deserving, not worthy, not good enough. Not deserving, not worthy, not good enough. Not deserving, not worthy, not good enough. Take a deep breath. How do you feel? That's a test. Test with EFT. How do you feel? Now, a couple of points I want to mention. The forgiveness. Sometimes you'll get to things where I don't want to forgive. I was working with someone recently and they were so angry at this person. They said, I can't forgive them for what they did. Okay, and I got them to follow me on this, even though I'm ever so slightly, remotely open to the vague possibility of forgiving this person. I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Okay, so why do we do this? Forgiveness is about You, not them. Say you're driving to work and some clown cuts in front of you, nearly causes an accident, and they're changing channel on the radio at the time. They don't even see you there. They go about their day having a wonderful day. Meanwhile, you tell everybody in earshot about this clown on the road, how you could have died, there could have been a big accident. You're upset. They had a great day. Who's the loser? That's the point of forgiveness. It's for you. It's so you can release the stress. Now, you can choose to send good wishes or good energy to that person if you want, or not. It's not important here. What's important is that you forgive. Now, the biggest person we need to forgive is ourselves, because we beat ourselves up. And how good does that make you feel? When you're in the midst of beating yourself up because you deserve the right to beat yourself up, just how good does that feel, eh? No, it doesn't, does it? It doesn't feel good at all. So why do it? So you can use forgiveness to do this. I would recommend that you work more on deserving, worthy, and good enough. When I first started working in these areas a long time ago, I found that kept cropping up for me in a lot of different areas of my life, that I feel I was getting stuck, and I went back to deserving, worthy, and good enough. And I recommend that you keep that in mind to do that. So you may need to look at this video a couple of times to get the points down. Very simple, aren't they? Really. And as I take you through future EFT sessions, I'll be describing the point. I'll say, tap the top of the head, tap the eyebrow, side of eye, under nose, under lip, collarbone, under arm, thumb, index finger, karate chop, wrist, and back of head. Okay. Work with it. Play with it. The stuff works, but only if you do it. If you have any further resistance to EFT, do some more rounds on EFT resistance. Start to work on it. Just play with it anywhere in your life where something's stressing you. Don't necessarily go target some major stress, but just target something where you feel a little stressed at the moment. Feel that relief. Feel the stress drain out of you. This is a critical part of seeding because, this is again, we're aiming for progress, not perfection. This is the crucial part of weeding before we seed. Because seeding in a paddock full of weeds is pretty much a waste of time. And that's what we do most of the time. So we use EFT to weed it all out. Now, some people say, why do I speak about the negatives? Why don't I just go, I love and accept myself and I deserve this and I love goal setting? It's because you don't. And all you're doing is deluding yourself and creating more resistance, because when you put positive thoughts, like when you seed the ground that's full of weeds, all you're going to get is weeds. You're going to get more resistance. You've got to go to the weeds. You've got to get down. You've got to dig them out. You've got to get a machine in there and hoe them all out and clean that soil. That's what EFT's for. In conjunction with starting to implant the seeds with some relaxation and some of the lead future pacing, you are going to clear so many things from your life. You are going to get rid of so many weeds. It's going to be just amazing. And then you're going to see those ideas, those dreams, those goals, and you will succeed easily, naturally, and comfortably, instead of in constant struggle mode. Have fun. I'll see you on the next video.